Yesterday I got to talk one of my passions, which is soccer. Today I'm going to talk another one. And don't turn off the channel if you hate Star Wars or if you hate Disney. It's okay. I actually totally get it. I'm sitting here next to Zach Burke, who's told me, yeah, Disney took Star Wars and I was kind of out. I was kind of out. And I totally get that. But I think what they're doing right now with this show, Andor, and if you're familiar with it, you've maybe seen some of these stories. If you're not familiar with it, I hope you'll investigate it after we talk for about 2 minutes, 3 minutes here. I think they are totally giving Hollywood the solution to all of its flaws over the past decade. So here's the Hollywood issue, right? The Hollywood issue is it's all sequels and remakes. Right? That's kind of been the last decade or so in Hollywood is we don't know how to create an original story anymore. So let's reboot this franchise. Let's go back to this old franchise, or let's remake this Disney movie exactly the same, but with real people instead of animated people. I don't understand the obsession that Hollywood has. It's part of why a couple weeks ago we talked about Sinners being such a phenomenon in the movie theaters right now. It's making a lot of money as a rated R horror flick, but it's an original idea that's really well executed on the screen. It doesn't happen enough. Disney, in particular, has been in a really bad spot for about at least 5 or 6 years now, if not longer. Their three most valuable assets, Pixar, Marvel, and Star Wars, have all cratered. I don't know if you've noticed lately. I'm sure you have, especially if you have kids that like superhero movies or like Pixar movies. They bought these three incredibly valuable assets, Pixar, Marvel, and Star Wars. And for a time, we're really generating a lot of income and some hype around those brands. And now all those brands have been diminished. And Star Wars, by the way, when Disney bought it in 2012, I think was indisputably the most coveted, valuable IP in the world. I don't think it was particularly close, and now it's been very diluted into something much less than. This show, Andor, the finale comes out this Tuesday night. It's a 2-season show. It gives us the roadmap for the way forward in entertainment. Because Andor does three things that I think if Hollywood would follow suit, the movies, our television would greatly improve. I want to tell you what those things are, and I hope it'll motivate you to go watch it with me. One, the main thing that these movie studios and television studios, and Disney in particular, needs to do, hire a talented creative with vision and let them cook. Don't interfere with the talented creative. Give them the budget they need and give them the creative control they need. So Andor has been criticized as opposed to other Star Wars shows because they've supposedly spent something like between $600 and $800 million creating this 2-season television show. But that money shows up on screen. Compared to other projects, it looks real. It looks like you are completely immersed in the world in a way I don't know Star Wars fans have been since the original trilogy. And they hired Tony Gilroy and let him run with his vision. So Tony Gilroy, most famous for creating the Bourne movies. He's written some other things like Armageddon that you've probably watched and enjoyed. Tony Gilroy, incredible proven talent in the industry. They gave him the keys, they gave him the money, and the result on screen is better than anything else Disney's put out in a very, very long time. So step one, hire a talented creative. Step two, if you are operating within an existing IP, keep it consistent, but not necessarily interconnected. The reason Andor is so good is because if you have never watched Star Wars, or if you have not watched Star Wars since Disney bought it, you can follow everything happening in this show and be totally engaged, not be lost. There's not random drop-ins from that show over there and that movie over there. It is a completely self-contained story. And yet it is a story that leads us from the prequel era to the original trilogy era and establishes how a fascist empire can rise to ultimate authority and power. and the real people's lives within it that make that happen or that allow that to happen. And so it really is just this beautiful political story set within the world of Star Wars, but feeling no need to like give you all these Easter eggs and cameos to bring you back into the world of Star Wars. Now, there are some characters in the show that are in other Star Wars media. That's inevitable in a connected IP, but it's not forced. It's never for the sake of member berries and fans to tune in. It's always for the sake of the story. And then that leads me to my third point. Take your time, Hollywood, to write a well-developed story, because that is always better than rushing into audience-anticipated results. These media companies, Disney probably most guilty of all, have decided that they need to make money so bad, they're going to give audiences their kind of fever dream of what they wish they could see on screen, rather than writing a story that leads you intentionally through some well thought out moments, movements, and pacing to lead to a well-earned conclusion. Let me talk real quickly about some of the greatest television shows of all time, right? Consensus. If we said, what are the greatest television shows of all time? We might hear some people say The Wire, Breaking Bad, Walking Dead, Game of Thrones. More recently, you might say something like Severance. What do all those shows have in common? And I have seen some of those and I haven't seen all of those, but I know what they all have in common. They're not rushing to like the next hype big thing because they need the fans to keep watching. They are setting you in their world. They're telling their story that's been well thought out, and they're leading you to a really dramatically satisfying place. That's what Andor does better than anything Disney's put out in a decade. Some people have said, oh, it's slow because there's not lightsabers and space battles, but it's a story. It is a 24-episode story that by the time you get to the point where we were at this past week, I am on the edge of my seat because we have been building towards these inevitable conclusions. They're so beautiful. So Hollywood, once again, hire creatives, let them have the keys. Don't feel forced to make everything interconnected. Take time to write a well-developed story. Andor does all these things really well. So here's my pitch to you, and then we're going to go into our weekend. This weekend, check out Andor. If you like Star Wars, but you're out on Disney content, I get it. This is legitimately amazing storytelling within the galaxy you already love. And if you don't like Star Wars, I would say even more so, you need to watch this show because it's a tremendous one-off experience that rivals any of those legendary shows I just mentioned in terms of storytelling, writing, drama, stakes, production value, all of it. It's awesome. Star Wars is something that's important to me. And if two of you watch Andor because I just went on that little sermonette, then it's been worth it for me.